the control towers before intel is transmitted.
Some of Atari's classic arcade games have stood the test of time, others are merely nostalgic footnotes in the annals of video game history, their jank used as reference points for the betterment of the medium. Where the original Battlezone falls on that spectrum is up for debate. Its clever use of wireframe constructions to create pseudo-3D landscapes and objects made jaws drop in 1980. Furthermore, the geometric and neon emulation of remote-controlled combat seemingly created a world inside the computer itself, its grid horizon stretching far into the distance and enemy resistance spawning indefinitely into the bleak techno war zone. Rebellion's Battlezone Gold Edition captures much of what made the original so impactful, retooling the core concepts into a new, but every bit as innovative experience. It's very much its own game, not attempting to replace the original, making it easy to recommend for fans of classic arcade action, those looking for a different type of roguelike shooter, or owners of VR headsets looking for an awe-inspiring world to roam. After a war with machines did not go in their favor, mankind has been pushed from the surface of the Earth. You control a Cobra, a tank from the Rebels' arsenal, heading up to fight against the robot's powerful AI. An introduction sequence and tutorial play out every time you start a new campaign, though these can be skipped if you wish. Though this introduction provides a very cool look into the world you're fighting to protect, overall, storytelling is reserved. There isn't a grand narrative, characters to keep track of, or dialogue. Random encounters on the map give the game a bit of a tabletop RPG feel, highlighting how life in this post-apocalyptic war zone operates. Your goal, however, is a blissfully simple one. Reach the volcano and blow up anything in your way. Starting a new campaign, players are able to choose from several difficulty tiers and map size options. There are also 3 tank builds available from the get-go, though more variations are unlockable with play. Essentially, a hexagonal board made anew each game, players are given 3 lives to try and reach the volcano. Players move 1 hex at a time, with some hexes containing mission objectives, including destroying all enemies, destroying a power core, hacking an enemy base for intel, working with allies to protect a base, and more. Levels where you are tasked with destroying enemy power cores, essentially heavily guarded and shielded power plants, are a bit tedious, but for the most part mission variety and random level layouts keep things fresh. Credits are awarded by kills in-game and by successfully completing missions. Credits can be spent on sending probes to scan adjacent hexes, letting you know what type of event lies in wait. Some of these hexes also contain the aforementioned story scenarios, like deciding how to deal with a group of scavengers or ambushes by enemy forces. Credits can also be spent to acquire additional lives or upgrades for your tank, like armor boosts and reload speed. Supply points contain new weapons and abilities for purchase and also allow you to sell old parts off. When in missions, certain enemy structures can be hacked simply by waiting in close proximity while a hacking meter fills up. These hacks may reveal enemy locations in the level, give cash bonuses, or unlock new blueprints for equipment. You start each game with just the basic equipment assigned to each tank. It's only by unlocking equipment and then scrounging up enough cash to equip them at supply points that you can hope to make your quest easier. Each turn increases the enemy's power. The implications for this include enemies taking more damage to defeat, as well as the Nemesis system. When a Nemesis tank spawns, they'll begin to roam the map, potentially hijacking one of your missions. These tanks are tough to take out, so thoughtful movement and exploration are essential to preparation. Backtracking to supply points may cost you valuable time, increasing the enemy's power while you stay stagnant. Conversely, trying to make a beeline right for the volcano will likely result in you being underprepared for the awaiting resistance. Smaller maps don't necessarily make the game easier either. While I suppose it is feasible to believe one could beat the game first try with base equipment if played very carefully, you'll likely spend many hours experimenting with different playstyles and equipment unlocks before finding the optimal build and route to your goal. The tanks you control in Battlezone Gold Edition control similarly to other first-person shooters, and the fact it doesn't initially feel like other tank shooters, like say Alien Front or even the original Battlezone, may take some adjustment. WASD moves you around with deceptively free motion for a tank, hence the FPS comparison. The mouse free looks and aims all around you, with the mouse buttons used for weapon functions. F activates your equipped special ability like healing squad mates or detecting mines. Shift speeds you up at the expense of your shields, making boosting a risky endeavor unless you are absolutely sure you are out of harm's way.
Target destroyed.
It can be hard to assess exactly which part of your tank is facing which direction at first due to the smooth movement. Like the arcade original, Battlezone Gold Edition is a tank simulator in that your eyes constantly have to be darting between the air, ground, and cockpit.
Critical damage.
Using cover to your advantage and smartly switching between weapon types and timing reloads are essential to survival. Though I was tempted to play the game quickly like a twitch shooter at first, I never made it very far. In fact, you must take your time, relatively speaking, reading the landscape, planning your attack, and making shots count.
Hack successful.
The game utilizes a clean, low-poly graphical style, harkening back to the geometrical wireframe designs of the original, filling in the blank space with grays, blues, and yellows. It's not an overly colorful game, but things are color-coded, making the environments easy to read. That said, I wouldn't go so far as to label the graphics as retro. The ruins of the old world are covered in ice, the machine's creeping influence of panels consuming the former human settlements and landscape. Like the original, it feels like a computer-generated world, but with a bit more realism this time around. The backgrounds do change as you progress, though the hex style remains constant.
AI incoming.
The sound effects are chunky and impactful with bass, nailing that old-school arcade sound while still making the battlefield feel alive and dynamic. The techno chiptunes scoring each mission suit the game, though they did begin to grate on my nerves after hearing them repeat so many times.
Hack commencing.
You can also upgrade the cosmetics of your cockpit. This disgusting neon tiger pattern is just one of many you can choose from, as is the Judge Dredd bobblehead. Battlezone Gold Edition can be played both online or offline. Many levels have friendly bots, which are surprisingly capable, though having another few human-controlled tanks in your squad is a fun way to play too. It should also be mentioned, in case it isn't evident, that Battlezone Gold Edition supports both VR and traditional setups. I don't have a VR headset, but still enjoyed my time with the game in vanilla form. If anything, it's a testament to the design that Rebellion could format the game from being a VR exclusive to a traditional shooter. Battlezone Gold Edition, whether with headgear or not, is fun to play.
Opening.
There's a lot of repetition needed to make progress, but because Rebellion has managed to capture that arcade addiction and meld it seamlessly with roguelike progression, Battlezone Gold Edition never feels like a grind. It can be frustrating, getting stuck on the architecture and being blasted into smithereens, but once you get a feel for the machine you're driving, it rarely feels unfair. Whether you upgrade your tank into a futuristic AI killing machine, or just perfect those arc shots to take out drones with the most basic of cannons, Battlezone Gold Edition is a continually fun game to play. Though you can in fact win this time around, unlike the arcade original, this is a war you'll want to fight in again and again.
Commencing.